Hey, look, we are recording.
Hi, recording.
All right. I see there's a lot of posts and no my cancel since I last looked here. But, yes, updates, things of note, things and stuff and stuff and things. Um, I have finished the structures update, and we just need to put it on World Anvil now. Um,
Excellent.
so should be doing that probably tonight or tomorrow.
Can't wait to sink my teeth into it.
Yes, should be good stuff. Um, the Ashen class. Um, I need to send that to you. Okay.
Yeah.
I am just adding in the mutations and subclass stuff now. The rest is already finished, and I'm
Okay.
most of the way through mutations. Um, so that's pretty close. Additionally, I started work on an update for the Blood Hunter class. That one's early on, so nothing much there, but you know, it's an update. It's a thing. Um, outside of that, things are still progressing within the equipment guides update, and nothing else major, I don't believe. Anything else that might be notable? Nothing's coming to mind. But I did just wake up like 3 minutes ago. So,
We'll figure it out.
indeed. Anyways, while I try to think of things that I might be forgetting, anything anyone would like to bring up, things to note down?
Pie is cute.
Pie is pie.
Pie.
You can't just say pie is cute when pie's not even here.
It's
That's
true.
that's when I always say it.
They'll never know. They'll never know.
He'll never know.
Um.
Oh, someone asked me earlier. Fuck. So for infiltrate, it specifically references charisma for disguise kits. They were curious on whether or not they could use int
Yeah,
because int is all
yeah,
tools.
yeah, they can use it.
While Legacy's typing that up, Duke wanted to bring up the bandit thing again.
Yeah, that. The initial intimidate does that set the DC and do they have to roll it initially or do they then roll it afterwards? Like uh I intimidate as my free action during my turn. Do they immediately roll wisdom saves in order to beat that intimidate or the antagonize? Sorry. Um, and then they then have to roll additional uh, saving throws whenever they go to attack something other than me, or does it work as I set the DC on my turn? They then have to roll it if they don't attack me.
So, the initial check for intimidation, if you're doing antagonized, we'll do that one right now. Um, that sets the DC for them that they have to then immediately roll against
Okay.
to gain the condition.
Okay.
If they don't gain the condition, they're fine. If they do gain the condition, then they get a roll against the condition to attack other targets.
Sounds good.
Um,
I imagine it works the same for frightening.
yeah, yeah. Except for with frightening, they just get a check at the end of their turn to lower the fear.
Yep.
Um, additionally, it's just one target unless you have things that boost the number of targets or you like increase the DC to get more targets.
Understandable.
So like uh, brigand or bandit. Bandit's the one I called it. They would have more targets.
Duke was still going to get hit, so it's fine.
Yeah, I still ended up getting hit every single time, so it doesn't matter.
Mm,
Look, just make your strength saves. It's fine.
Bro, they have basically a bonus action knockdown 3d6. I'm level 1.
You're fine.
Suffer.
Ashen class, not race. I'm now getting to the where in chat.
There's a whole bunch of other stuff that needs to be brought up, but
Just Equipment Guide's been getting some more updates. A lot of work on the like fine tuning the crafting system in it and adding some new items and whatnot. So
did we want to start on Echo Knight?
we can discuss Echo Knight. Yeah.
About
That should be
whether
short. So
whether or not Echo Knight can fly in the air.
Huh?
So, lovely Mr. Crawford, the arbiter of D&D for some people, decided to tell everybody that Echo Knights could move upwards and they could just hang out there.
As in the Echo or the entire Echo Knight?
the Echo.
Echo.
But why though?
Which, it would make sense if it said floating or pretty much anything to do with, flying
Yeah.
Echo Knights.
So the Echo Knight is a shadow projection, meaning that it can go vertical.
And I said I was completely fine with going vertical. It's about whether or not it can stay in that position. Because it doesn't list anything being able to fly, float, or anything like that. So it should actually fall immediately as soon as it goes up.
Goes up, does a thing, then falls down.
What are
Or
people's
just goes
thoughts
up
on
and then
this?
I if it stays up in the air, we have a Chronos situation.
Is that because it is just going to grapple people or something?
Mostly because people are gonna try and Goomba stomp.
Because you can switch positions.
Oh yeah.
And being that it's 30 feet in the air, if we have flying races, they just go up, they're 50, 60 feet up in the air, teleport up again, fall. Obviously, yeah, they take the damage, but we run into the Goomba stomp situation again.
Mm.
Which don't get me wrong, I'm okay with the way Chrono did stuff because it's funny and it works. It's when it gets egregious
Yeah.
is my worry. Even Pi brought it up. So if it does its thing and then drops because you can't, I'm pretty sure it's Pathfinder where you actually have to have a hover speed or else you will fall and keep moving. Should be the thing.
I think for this particular feature, since it is just a shadow projection, it will just gently go back down to ground elevation. Unless your projection, since it is projection of your shadow, you have a fly speed at the time. In which case it can just do its thing. Because if you have a fly speed, you're going to be able to Goomba Stomp regardless. So that's the only concern. You can do that as a fly character.
Because I imagine you were going to bring in the shadow spells from Pathfinder anyway.
I am.
Well, you also have to remember Legacy. Once the shadow leaves 30 feet of the person, it disappears.
Yeah, it can go vertical,
or it kind of goes both ways. If it's far away from you, it goes away. If you're far away from it, it goes away.
Yeah, unless you have a fly speed, it cannot end turn floating.
And that makes sense, especially when you think about it with shadow projections from Pathfinder because it's basically just another creature.
Mhm.
Like if someone wants to like have their shadow up in the air and they're staying close to it and they're, they have a bow or something, that's fine. I've no like real issue against that. I don't want people like abusing it to try and get fall damage type stuff again.
Mm-hmm.
Because look, for anyone who's been in a Chrono game, especially when he had his arm, you basically didn't play the combat. And it's fine to a certain degree, but we obviously want people to actually enjoy combat.
Yeah.
And have a turn. Again, that's not a shot at Chrono. That's more a shot of how things went.
Yeah. The good thing about that, though, is if we do have a group who do utilize the Goomba Stomp strat, I mean, yeah, they have pretty decent athletics probably, but also there's things that can diminish that. So,
right.
And we have a lot of different creature mechanics wherein we will have something that hits their weakness. So if you're worried about it not being a fun combat, I mean, just look at the bestiary. There's a lot of things that can counter that.
Yeah.
That looks good. Plus, it's a good ruling just in general because
Yeah.
of the shadow stuff.
It looks good.
Also, probably don't take anything Crawford says at face value. I don't even think he plays this. I'm like 90% sure he doesn't even play fucking D&D to understand how his shit works.
Yeah, I was fine with this wording up until it just hangs out.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, some of the stuff he says is good. Like, a lot of it's hit or miss. Some of it's just like, probably don't say anything and just let it ride. Just don't say anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, my biggest issue with letting it float into the air was actually that it takes up space. You can actually move through it, which was a different issue.
Yeah. No, if anyone thought the Echo Knight was an illusion, you did know that thing is real. You can poke it, you can touch it. It will smack you.
I mean, it even says in the description of the Echo, it is a projection.
Yeah.
So. But most people would probably just see that as flavor text, to be fair.
Yeah, that's fine.
That is the big issue with 5e. Anyways.
No, yeah. Otherwise, it's fine.
Mm-hmm. Anything else to bring up? Things to note down? Things to discuss?
Econ?
Let's do Sitham's thing first. Econ's gonna take a while.
Yeah, Econ's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
So Sitham mentioned... Sitham's in here?
I don't see him in here now.
Okay, so I will read it out for everybody.
Villain points?
Yep, villain points, making them a bit more noticeable for outside people. Obviously, we can't give them the exact wordings on things.
What would be the purpose of making them more visible?
So, for villain points, that was already the plan.
Mm-hmm.
I believe we mentioned this last meeting. That I just need to write up the document and put on World Ample. And that's not just for players' benefit, but also for Dungeon Master benefit, so they have a tighter grasp on how they function. Because right now, it's very vague. It's more of, we will discuss and determine what we think the points are worth. And that's very much akin to how, like, some of the influence things can function, where it's like, is this worth like 1? Is it worth 2, 5, 10, 15, whatever? So I think if we have the written down document, it'll both give players an idea of what we might be able to use with their villain points. Not like a full grasp of it, because I'm not going to put down, this is what you can do word for word,
But yeah.
because it, like influence, needs the freedom of being able to morph to the situation. But having a better grasp of what it can do is what is intended to put on World Anvil.
Okay.
So things like you can spend 5 villain points to produce an event within a region. As an example, where this event might cause a modifier to the economy. This event might cause missions to pop up. And, some other small things like that. But then the more villain points spent, the more radical the change.
Mm,
We have a VP tracker document, unless I mean for civilians view. Public facing. Gotcha. I mean, we can just post that in the news whenever we get a new VP. Or I'd probably say whenever we do a Sunday update, we just post in each of the region channels, news page specifically. This is the current VP. I know we post it when people ask, but we don't post it on continuous basis.
Well, a lot of the time we're still deciding on how to use it, and we try to make it so, like, as Systems had pointed out before, we used it in relation to the VP being spent.
Yeah.
So like the Inquisitor coming out was all that VP spent was related to that particular incident, and not just, hey, we're gonna, I don't know, we're gonna nuke the place.
Yeah.
We should have just nuked the place.
What is the need for the civilian introduction page? All right. Over the team itself. Okay.
To be fair, the whole VP thing came up because someone was still kind of scarred from the purple
That's fair.
stuff, which don't get me wrong, is a fair assessment to be worried, but we've also been extraordinarily transparent about pretty much everything,
Yeah.
outside of a couple things that you're just not supposed to know because that's DM only stuff for very obvious reasons.
Yeah, I mean, the things that we have not been transparent about have been story stuff, and
Yeah.
if you know the story, what how's that fun?
Yeah.
That's-
Like, we've been very transparent about stuff. We've even told people, like, hey, look, like, this is growing pains. We're still learning. Like,
Yeah.
shit happens.
But I mean, the trauma of the past living world is the biggest hurdle we're getting past right now. Like, all the mechanic stuff, getting used to the new systems, that's one thing, but getting people past Verum and whatnot, that we are not them, that we are not that living world is freaking biggest hurdle.
Like, full disclosure, we're never gonna try and fuck you over. Like, that's not our goal. It's not our intent. We're doing our best to make sure everything is fair. And if you do fist the beehive, you kind of did it on your own, not that we did it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like full disclosure to anyone that's watching or listening, we don't want to screw you over. We love having everybody here, and we understand that. Just we're not trying to do anything bad.
Also, beehives will tend to have a decent number of warning signs.
Yeah.
That said, if you do go up to a king or something like that and just slap him, you probably will die.
Yeah.
The warning sign's enough is that you're going to slap a king. That's just common sense.
Look, don't go up to the wizard and go, I'm practicing witchcraft. Like,
There's
you know,
certain
maybe
things
don't
where
do
the
that.
warning sign is just blatant.
Yeah.
I love eating the flesh of the fallen.
I mean, that's just cultural differences.
Just don't tell the cops that.
Yeah.
Uh,
It depends on what region you're in.
Don't tell the cops anything. There you go.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, things and stuff like things. Man, I have so many tabs open right now. It's not even funny. I've been just like working most of this week on getting the updates out and whatnot. Intention was to go through all the pings I have because I was at 28 when I woke up this morning.
It never ends.
It never ends. I gained so many in one day. I was at I think 10 when I went to bed.
I'm sorry, 5 of those tabs are mine. Okay,
It's all
I'm
good.
sorry. I'm sorry. I put work into that to make it work.
Let's see here. Follow-up updates. Enchantment to book is 1 hour of DTD outside of game, then 1/8 of DTD at patch notes. I am confused. This is the first bullet point.
I believe this is the conversation related to people wanting to know how to handle books and writing.
The first bullet point talking about enchantments to book. If you're scribing an enchantment to your enchanting book, it takes 1 hour inside game or 1 hour of downtime outside of game, which is equal to 1/8 of a downtime day. Because every downtime day is 8 hours, unless you're a crafter, in which case it's 12 hours for you if you have the master crafter at German rank, I believe. Or maybe it's master rank. Something like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's either 1 hour, for the 8 hours, or 1 hour for the fucking in-game.
Yeah. Mailing shipping system. Do we have SAC on this, or should we have this as a current project to work on? It's still being worked on. You want to assign the shipping system to someone, mail shipping system, feel free. It is on my docket, but my docket's got a fuck ton of things on higher priority right now. SAC is working on the letter system, which is more related towards the divinity side of things, which is not high priority, but it'd be nice to have, as that's like a major system that kind of takes. It doesn't really replace prayers, but it's in place of them until people become high enough level where prayers become more common. Because right now, prayers aren't going to be answered by some low level people. You don't have enough power, enough connection between your deity. You don't really have a reason to message you back, basically.
The first divine intervention we get is going to be some stupid shit. I swear to God.
I mean, maybe.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be like, where are my maidens?
I crave 1,000 potatoes.
Every time a divine intervention goes off, it always succeeds on the stupidest shit. You're like, real?
Let's see here.
Real recognize real.
Anything from suggestion form that's been accepted that we need to add to the patch notes. I've not marked these as accepted yet, but change your agent rarity to just tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. I'm going to do that in the update, so that one's accepted. I'll just mark it right now, actually. Remove batch crafting. I still need to finish reading that one, but I am going to be altering how batch crafting works, because right now it's kind of potent. It'll probably be adjusted so that it is each individual potion is worth the batch price, while the whole batch is worth the full price. That's probably how it's adjusted. So I just have to look at how the economy functions out, because every item is made from these core components. And right now, how I calculated the batch price is that um I made the actual calculations I was supposed to, and I just divided it by the number of batches items, and that was the batch price. So instead of being,
Ah.
you build up the batch price to make the total thing, it was you can just buy it for super cheap. So it's an issue there. So economy wise, it does technically break the mold. So I'm going to be adjusting how that functions so it doesn't break the mold. But I want potions to be cheap enough that you can actually just buy them and not worry. So I have to look at the economy side of things for them.
Mm-hmm.
So for them, I would consider it pending because I still want to read some more of their notes to see if there's any ideas that like immediately jump out. I'm like, yes, I want to do that. But yeah, merchant supplies, the economy game. I'm still in the middle of reading that. I read about half of it before I had to stop for the night as I had to get back to work.
That was just me having fun.
Yeah. I like the idea, the concept of like merchant proficiency within different aspects and whatnot. So it's on my radar. Looking at
It's
it.
way too complicated right now.
It's very complicated. I don't want to complicate things further, but it's on my radar. And I think if we get more merchants, we might put that into place just so people can enjoy the merchant game. But because I know we will have players that want that. I myself like just playing the merchant game. Like I'll go and Mountain Blade and just be a merchant. But,
Yeah, I've spent a non-insignificant amount of time trying to figure out the best prices for everything in this system so far.
yes, it's a lot.
Yeah,
If
I
anyone's
got
seen the thing in Econ, that big spreadsheet I posted with all the profits.
Mm-hmm. Allow non-lethal damage for all bludgeoning attacks. Range spell. That's kind of the reason why I have the blunt arrows, is because they allow for non-lethal. If a spell for some reason does bludgeoning damage, depends on how the spell functions. But I would be okay with it doing non-lethal. But if we're talking like a bone shatter spell, because that spell will be converted from Pathfinder,
Oh, Bone Shaker.
maybe. But if it's something where your bones like literally shatter themselves inside your body, that's not non-lethal. I'm afraid. Yeah, no.
I see. I'm okay to it up to a degree, but like if you do like over damage with the blunt weapon, you're gonna fucking crush their skull.
Yeah.
Like,
Which is why I'm like, with a blunt arrow, you can just like slap them there and it should be fine. With a club, those are designed to knock people unconscious. Might not be non-lethal sometimes, but they're designed to do it.
no, if you're smacking someone with a great hammer out, I'm gonna be like,
Well, you just hit them with the pommel.
that's a lot of weight.
You hit them with the shaft, you grab both ends and just ram it in their face.
Yeah, I mean the big thing with melee weapons is you can just hit them with the pommel most of the time,
Yeah.
and that's how you can knock them unconscious.
the other thing with melee weapons is they're a lot more easy to aim.
It's true. Yeah, ranged weapons is hard to aim, which is why blunt arrows exist, as well as like blunt crossbow bolts and whatnot. That just means it's more expensive, but you can do the thing that you want to do. So that is one of the downsides for range, but they also have the option. Magic, they don't really have an option, but
They do with sleep.
they have some certain very specific spells. I also probably will be working on an expansion to the feat system for spellcasting feats, which will probably have a feat that allows one to spend stamina to make the spell non-lethal.
Which is pretty much what we came down to, was that it's more of a meta magic type thing than it would be a you can just do this option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's also going to be a lot more feat categories because per the structures update, just copy this. So here's the combat training area. It has combat category, style category, and teamwork category. Guile, which is like thieves and whatnot. I need to update this a little bit more. Now that I think about it, because I need to categorize not the structures, but the classes, how I categorize them. Anyways, this one has general feats, but also has guile and luck feats, which neither of those categories are currently on World Anvil, but they do exist. So there's new feats to be added, and then there's magic, which includes two categories that already exist: the divine and spellcasting.
Mm-hmm.
So, heads up, there's new categories being added. So, yeah. And if you guys have ideas for feats, feel free to slap them down. Or ideas for updating feats, feel free to slap them down. But yeah, no, non-lethal damage, there'll probably be some feats that do it. There might be some spells that I will update that can do it. I don't think there's many bludgeoning damage spells to begin with. But yeah. Overall, though, it's not every spell will have it. Most spells probably won't. But the few spells that are bludgeoning, I will look at them as a case-by-case basis to see if they get applied. So I'm going to mark that one as technically pending. Please make a resources channel. We already have that, and I remember people saying that in the chat. The rest are just going over the meeting notes, which I still need to read. So things are things that I still need to read.
It's literally just a concise version of the meeting that happened. It's for people, I guess, to discuss in there any meeting things,
Okay.
so that people don't have to actually listen.
That's fair. Let's see here. The last thing that you were mentioning. A person with enchanting tools learned the enchantment of an artificer's essence infusement. No. I'm pretty sure I actually updated the artificing class so it specifically says no. So if it's an essence infusement, no update. No enchanting book. Their magical energy is different. It's not learnable. Yeah, that's the thing. All right. Anything else people would like to bring up? Things to note down. Things to discuss.
I think it's time
Time for
The
economy.
big one.
for economy.
If I assume it's the economy creation corner chat that I have yet to read that has an at in it.
There is lots of stuff in the economy creation corner chat.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Basically, it's kind of like, how do we solve the issue with well, first, the biggest one that I've brought up is with money you can purchase things out of tier, which is going to be a compounding issue because you're going to have people with out of tier gear in games. So if like people making money, I'm not opposed to. When you have people out of tier, you're going to have that soul stuff
So
coming up. You're
I
going to have
wouldn't worry about this too much because in the update, the different enchanting tiers will have I can't remember the name I have for this particular tag, but it's basically level lock tag, where you have to be at this level or higher to even use the item. So things like excellent quality items, anyone can use an excellent quality item, but things like a masterpiece, you have to be a certain level to even use it. So I wouldn't worry too much about that, about people going and getting stuff out of tier.
Another issue is they're going to buy metals and stuff like that out of tier and then craft weapons. So you're going to have that, hey, someone has the sword that can rend your soul.
Well, I believe currently people can't even get the materials out of tier. Like they only get the ones that are like tier 1 through 3.
From what I can tell, people think that they can buy out of tier.
Let me see. Rules down. I think I already have it. Yeah, I do already have it open. Shopping, I think. Shopping for buying stuff. Yeah, shopping for buying stuff. Excellent, superior, masterpiece, legacy, artifact. So I think for shopping, I just need to update it because it doesn't actually mention material tiers. But it is intended that you will have to spend a boatload of days to be able to just, you know, buy something of like tier 4 or tier 5.
Okay.
So, for example, tier 4 materials will probably be the day 10, while tier 5 will probably be the day 30. But people can do it, but they're wasting a whole lot of days to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, as our player base have proven, downtime days are a very desirable commodity.
Yes, definitely.
So,
I'm pretty sure at this point half the player base is like Dave Chappelle and the one skit going, "Can I get more of them DDTs, mister?"
One thing I did want to bring up with downtime days is we have been giving out 20 at a time, and it takes 30 in order to do anything with harvesting or crafting.
yeah, we're probably going to be
Yes.
giving out 30 next update. Also, with the structures update, I'm just going to copy this. Here is the bedchamber suite.
Look, if they want more DDTs, they can work on the street corner like every other person.
Oh,
Behold how this
Is
bedchamber gives you bonus DTDs.
Nice.
There's a
My
reason to
empty
have
bedchamber.
beds.
yes, yes.
Yeah, there's a reason to have every single structure or every
They don't
component.
deserve a walk-in closet.
This is the suite. This is the suite. They
I get
deserve
a
this.
They don't deserve a walk-in closet. They get a goddamn fucking crate on the ground that says, "Here's your clothes."
2 crates
I
put together and
Get
a
a
blanket on
walk-in
top.
closet.
It's a crate made of mahogany, and that's all they get.
That's a pretty good crate. I'll take that. I'll
No.
break it down and sell it for money.
The next thing on economy was fucking selling. Selling's an issue.
There,
Go ahead.
there is like a few things that a player can do that generates them a lot of money. Like, for example, saffron. Like, if you just have any good farming, anywhere decent farming,
Mm-hmm.
saffron generates like upwards of 50 something gold per downtime day invested, assuming you have a anywhere decent modifier. And it's very accessible for anyone to do it. All you need is the respective toolkit and access to a farm, and you're generating a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah.
a good thing to point towards would be my recent foray into seeing how much rosemary I could sell. Like, just the act of spending one downtime day to buy some sacks, plus the 14 or whatever days I spent harvesting the rosemary and then selling it all, netted a lot of money in a very short amount of time for not very much effort on my end, aside from assigning the downtime days and coordinating with a fellow player.
Gotcha. Seems like I'll need to update farming systems then.
Yeah.
I-
So
Yeah.
I came up with a little bit of a thing. It's something to think about. It's not really something that we could probably implement at this point, but essentially it's every area can only take a certain amount of goods. So a certain amount of poundage of goods, and it sells at a specific price point. So it may sell at 100% of its price point, it may sell at lower percentages of its price points. And this would allow us to essentially do the VP modifiers within that and adjust it as needed based upon bulk goods sales, anything like that. And it would also keep people from selling a million potions in the same place, which is kind of what's becoming an issue is that we have no real reason for traders to move.
Mm-hmm.
So traders are going to sit in the same place and sell the same things that are netting them a ton of money.
Yeah. I had an offshoot of that where it was where you condensed all the trade goods, like the farming trade goods, into more uh, more abstract categories like dairy, fine spices, common spices, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you could just have a spreadsheet with price modifiers for each region that
I
anyone
don't.
can reference easily.
Yeah, I don't think it would be too difficult to make a simplified list of spices and whatnot, because most of the prices are just like 1.8 silver piece, 4 silver piece, 6.1 silver piece. Just these values are going to be very similar between most of them. This calculation's
Yeah.
all very similar. So making a poor spice, common spice, fine spice. It sounds like I'm talking about Spice Girls. It's just spice categories or meat categories, fruit veggie categories, and so on. I think would be pretty easy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we had brought this up before that if people were overly selling stuff, the price would diminish.
It would, yeah. We
At
had mentioned
some
this.
point, we had brought this up before to prevent this exact scenario.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing with that though. If you're smart, you just cycle a different product that you're going to farm a lot of to sell. There are plenty of things that have decent enough value that if you were to go in that cycle, like theoretically, someone could slip off the under the radar just in this endless loop of generating a lot of money. Like, I know, and the next one on that I was thinking of with that in mind would be there's like a particular material that's fairly easy to acquire and is fairly valuable, and I was going to go from there. You could just go through the list, and I don't think everyone would want to do what I do and spend an afternoon figuring out exactly what's the most profitable.
Mm-hmm.
Making the ability to engage in trading more accessible in a non-damaging way, I think should be the aim, rather than having things that might obfuscate how mercantilism works.
Well, one of
Overall.
the things I think that will help mitigate the farming boost is structures. Because
Definitely.
some of the components of structures will have a increase in consumption cost, which is a core stat that I've added to the buildings. That is basically saying you need to have food to fill this stat. Otherwise, your upkeep for this building is going to increase if you don't pay the food tax, because you will then have to buy the food at a market essentially.
Okay.
So,
Essentially, keeping the buildings fed, for lack of a better term.
yeah, so not all components will require a consumption cost, but things like rooms that have a like an animal pen, you have to pay to keep your animals happy. So you have to pay a consumption cost to fill their bed at least. A guard post, a gatehouse, those both have guards who have to constantly be working the guard post or gatehouse to be fed and happy. So you have to pay the consumption cost for those two buildings. Things like that where it has that consumption cost. And then there's other buildings that just have a straight up expense value, which is basically increasing the upkeep of the component. And that value is very similar to consumption, but it is just monetary. And it's more of like the building needs constant repairs, updates, adjustments, things that like I can't think. Let me go see if I can't find one of the rooms that has a expenses.
It's something that has a consumable resource in order to keep running.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like wood to keep it warm or what have you.
Yeah, something like that. But there's a lot of rooms here, and it's going to be a huge update for the economy. So with these concerns, I might hold off on posting this until after I give all those updates, because there's a lot of updates here. Oh no, this is gonna break some stuff.
Okay, I'm just going to nip this button next. I've said it 4 times. That was the old idea that dual order coins had different values because we had originally thought that's how it was going to work. Because it made sense that being off island made sense that way. But it's also a hassle and a half to keep doing that.
One
Yeah.
thing, one thing that I thought could make things a little bit easier on everybody's side was adding market value just to mercantilism, like just adding that percentage point into mercantilism, not mercantile, yeah, mercantilism. I think is that it? No, it's shopping.
Mercantilism is selling, shopping is buying.
Shopping, adding that into shopping, so that it's just everything's at 150, and then well 0.5% more, because then people don't have to get out the sheet. They can just calculate based on what they can see within downtime days, and taking away what is it, the market value area, and putting in item value for mercantilism, because that takes away 50% of the profit that they would gain off of that stuff. That's quick and dirty.
Even then, even if you were to halve it, it's still worth it. Is the thing.
No, you
Well,
want
we don't want to make it
anything.
not worth it.
Yeah, everything should be worth doing. It's just how worth it is the difference. Because if you're like making several grand from just a couple of downtime days, there's a problem there. But if you're making in pure profit, that is not like profit minus the expenses you have to pay. But if you're making in pure profit like 100 or so from the downtime day, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier for people to calculate it, because then they don't have to calculate that extra 0.5 into every single calculation.
Mm-hmm.
It's now just the extra 0.5 is added on to the shopping, and we just put item value instead of market value, because NPC merchants shouldn't be buying things at market value. They should be buying things at item value because it's for resale.
Hmm.
Because most of the people purchasing bulk items, well, pretty much anything sold in bulk is going to be towards a merchant as well. It's going to be merchant to merchant sales. It's not going to be merchant to person sales. And we should incentivize people selling to people anyway.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the buildings actually, like the shop building,
Mm-hmm.
it very specifically incentivizes purchases between players, which is another reason why I'm like, we're probably going to have a adjustment on every other economy before I release this. Now, think about it, but as an example, if you're selling to players, you get 20% more. If you're selling to NPC market, you get 10% more. Also, increase your carrying capacity and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of buildings here that I'm like, with these concerns, I'm probably going to have to do some adjustments on the economy. Feel free to bring them up as well. Firehouse is where I currently look. Most things are like, I need to read this now.
By selling to players generating more money, does that money come out of nowhere, or was the player paying for that?
It's essentially the tax incentives of the region. Is how it's given. Because if we did, players are going to be paying this extra thing. They're not going to go to you.
Sure.
But you want players to go to you because you're getting more money. And we can't be like, as a player, hey, you get 20% more of this product because that means we're just producing your product out of thin air. We can do that with money, though, because tax incentives.
Okay.
So
Also, don't make us have to use VP or something to be like, hey, there's a gold snatching goblin going around.
But yeah, just changing market price and kind of just integrating it into the downtime day system makes it a bit less difficult on both downtime days end and also players end.
yeah, that's fair.
And you can always adjust it if you need to do market price adjustments as well, just the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Because someone was calculating an item for me, and I was like, "What's market price? What does that mean?" It's like, shouldn't it be item price times, the 175%? And they're like, no, that's not how it works. There's a market price for things. And I was like, what does that mean?
I don't know, like having the quote unquote true value and calculating the maths from there is a little bit. Having that as the starting point adjusts the maths in like towards a little bit better to like calculating like buying and selling.
Mhm.
If you start from say what the market has set the value of the item as, and then you go for selling, you're working with slightly messier numbers. But I understand that from just looking at it, it might be a bit confusing to think of at first. Like the book says this item is valued at this. Why am I paying 75% more? Blah blah blah.
Yeah, the real thing was I was like, okay, I calculated for 175%. It should be this. And they're like, but it has a market value. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean?
I can understand that.
Yeah. I mean, the 175% is basically just saying whatever the market value is at 175%, or times it by 1.75.
Which we could just put that 0.75 into that calculation and just put the item value.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right, here-
one of the other
here-
things, if you have like a permanent structure, is the caravanserai. This goes into hireling rules, which has been worked on as well.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of things I might have to update, I feel, before I actually release this, now that I think about it.
All right, hear me out. We create a gill sync of food carts going around the regions. They're all Granny Smith tacos. She doesn't
Continue.
actually she doesn't actually sell tacos. She actually won the food war and sells everything.
Oh.
Please, someone say they've watched Demolition Men to get the joke. But
I'm so sorry.
It's been years.
oh,
Taco Bell, the only surviving restaurant. I got you.
and then we just put a money sink into that, and everyone has food across the region.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be okay with eating rat burgers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why
The Taco
people
Bell
pay
meat.
for the nice stuff.
But it sounds like with all these things, one, I should release the regional stats earlier than I was expecting I needed to. Because that will go into what they like to buy, what they like to sell, what they need, what they don't need, as well as their security stat, which I feel like we're going to need a security stat regardless, because people start trying to smuggle shit in and through. Because that stat's kind of what you use to see if you can get past. Yeah, because that's going to be important.
Mm-hmm.
If you're wondering, by the way, structures have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 core statistics. Specifically, they have agriculture, commerce, culture, education, industry, and military. And then each of those core statistics have subcategories that have their own values that might be derived from the core statistic, or they might just be a flat number. For example, military has control, drill, forces, fortification, security, and structural integrity. So military is going to be like how you protect your building, how much of a military force you can,
Muster and all
muster, that's the word, thank you. Yeah. And then forces is how well you can train your soldiers. Forces how many soldiers you have. Drill is how well you can train your soldiers. While control is your zone of control around your building. So if like you're doing gang war shit, control will be important there.
Oh, I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I know this system.
Yeah.
I played this one.
Yeah.
As soon as you said gang war stuff, I know exactly what you're doing.
There's stuff. There's a lot of stuff. But you know, it's thing. So it's done. A lot of the base components will have custom structural qualities as well. So like let's just grab one of the easier ones. Appealing storefront is a quality that has levels 1 through 6, because every quality will have levels 1 through 6, because we have 6 positive qualities. Fine through Masterpiece, I believe. At 2 points in the appealing storefronts, you gain a plus 20% wealth gain from selling items to players, or 10% wealth gain from selling items to NPCs via the storefront. That stacks with the base value, which is why I need to adjust the economy.
I'm hearing that, and I'm seeing the numbers already.
Yep. But
The money is flowing in my head.
Yep. Yeah. No. There's going to be quality benefits for each component, so they will all have things that can get them higher and higher. So, and the main thing here is that quality benefits themselves, they are not normal quality benefits where you just spend, like 75 gold of fine oils. You're buying furniture. You're improving the tools and the furnishings of that component to boost it. So
would constructing your own help in that as well?
Yeah. There's each component has a listing of, for example, if you're trying to upgrade your bed chamber, bedroom furnishings, tiers 1 through 6.
Okay.
Well, technically it's just tier 1, and you just times it by 1 through 6 because the price is just a
Sure.
multiplier. But yeah. Anyways, that's structural qualities. They have their own system because they needed their own system. It was too complicated otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Understandable.
Assignment task list will be posted in Council General later. Economy discussions continue on with your discussion, so please take notes if I'm not here for the long discussion. I may need to go soon. Well, at the very least, there will be the recording, which I will be sure to post. All 3 that I have yet to post, including this one.
Cross
open
his
discussions.
fingers.
Yeah. Just ruling bans. Patch notes does not need to be discussed. Meeting, just noting here as a reminder for myself to do later. Okay, cool. Getting major projects does not need to be discussed in meeting, only a note for NERP. Yeah, we still need to go over a lot of those still. Yeah. Alright. Good stuff. That is true. I'm pretty much just discussing things I've made at this point with the structures document and needing to adjust economy. Things people would like to bring up. Anything to note down? Things to discuss?
What is our current levels looking like across the board?
I think we're getting close to all 4s at this point, right?
Because I know a couple people are still like 1 or 2 because they don't exactly have the time to play.
Yeah.
But
And
I think we're getting just from reading the character update, we're getting a lot of 3s.
Mm-hmm.
I know personally I'm close to 4, and I know a couple of other people are close to 4. And plenty of people are, at least from my mission, have become 3. So most of the environment seems to be 3, 4, and some people who are either screwed by scheduling or otherwise are.
We already have
a.
Oh, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah, no, we have a decent spread right now. Most of the lower levels have been due to scheduling issues. Which, if we can get some more DMs who are running EU times, or capable of running EU times, that would be appreciated if we can get some more games with that time zone scheduled. So, like, for me, I'm probably going to be running some games come, like, 2 a.m. CST. It's like the start time.
Right.
But I also work grave shifts, so that I can do that no problem.
I mean, it's more because we do cap out at 5. So, and technically this is on our anticipated track. Like we did say we'd probably get some 5s by winter.
That's true.
Like this is on our predicted-ish path somewhat. That we
As intended.
as we would start getting level 5s by winter. To be fair, once people hit 5, obviously they can't gain EXP, but people will probably still run 5 games, right? They
I
just
don't see why not.
can't
Yeah.
get EXP.
Yeah, it's just an XP cap.
They'll
They
just
can
get
run
loot
games.
instead.
Yeah, the money and item is still good, which is fine.
Mhm.
It,
Yeah.
It. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like people are gonna want more D&D, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's more we're starting to hit the level 5 cap now.
Yeah, I don't think we're
Pretty
at
soon.
the storyline set where we would be unlocking the cap to bring it back up a tier,
Yeah.
but yeah, once people hit the cap, they can just keep playing. They just don't gain experience because they are at the XP
Yep.
cap.
Of course.
Which, for full context, the XP cap is the experience required to hit level 5, not the experience required to almost hit level 6. So as soon as you hit level 5, that's your experience.
Yep.
That means people need to start preparing for
Yeah.
5. That starts coming up.
Yeah, no, people can still run games for level 5s.
Yep.
One of the things that, with the structures update, I can't think of the words for it. Mine just completely farted right then. The structures update. One of the other things in it is upkeep is becoming a lot more prominent in that, as people probably have noticed with the consumption stat and the expenses stat. There's also listings of every upkeep phase this happens. Before we can do that, we need everyone to be on the new character sheet. So if people want to help me out and just send people links to a new blank character sheet, that'd be awesome. If it'd be preferable that if we just like convert their sheet to the new one and then send them the updated sheet so they don't have to do any of the work themselves. It also would act as a bit of an audit on our end to make sure that they have everything that they need. But yeah, I want everyone to be on the new sheet before we release the upkeep phase. But I want to do it by next time progression. So next time progression will be when the upkeep is listed. Which, when we announce the next time progression, will be in like 1-2 weeks. We'll also say first upkeep phase will be in 1 to 2 weeks.
Nodders.
Just to not blindside people, yeah.
Yeah. But the main reason is because the new sheet on page 2 lists your lifestyle, the lifestyle type. So if you're travel, if you're renting, if you're upkeeping a building, a bunch of things like that. If you're doing any extra upkeep costs for like owning a structure, or if you have side things that might cost stuff like that, like guild dues. That's the main reason why the updated character sheet is required, because no sheets currently list what this is. Besides, like, people who have been updated, which I've updated, I think 2 sheets, 3 sheets now. Oh. Yeah. It's a pretty big update.
Oh, yeah, we probably need to get around to the faction stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fortunately, once the updates to economy are out, I'll probably be focusing on faction stuff as my next major project. So that'll probably be, and that's not a huge thing because we're just updating some of the rule sets. We're not making new factions, though. We do intend to make generic factions, so like a generic Thieves Guild, a generic Guild of Assassins, a generic Fighters Guild, things like that. Yeah. Also, making some evil factions would be good for each region as well. Just so they're listed on there, because we already have them in existence. It's just so people can see them and be like, oh, I can join this, and not be like, does a Assassin's Guild even exist? Should I do some research? I'm like, yes, you should, but so it's listed. People will know that it's something they can work towards.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if people can help out with the character sheet, that'd be awesome. It is. The blank one is currently on the players folder, just 015E character sheet, just right there. Specifically, it's not in civilians or PCs, because I know there's a version of this in those 2 folders as well, which I need to delete because those ones are the outdated version. If they do still have them, let me go to delete that now, actually. Cool, we don't have it there. Do we have it listed as copy? No. Okay, let me go check PC's folder now. Oh, we're good. Okay, cool. Neither of them are listed. Cool. So it's just the one file, just the basic 01 5e character sheet. If we can get that updated, sent out to everyone, that'd be awesome. And I believe that fixes a lot of bugs too. So like the HP bugs that people were having with like if they were multi-classed, that's gone with this update. AC has now been fixed, so ballistic should be listing the proper value. It's a lot. I would say there's a changelog, but there's not. I didn't think about making a changelog when I was updating it because I'm a banana.
It's okay. We'll just live.
But yeah. Anyone else would like to discuss before we call it a Gouda? Alright, good stuff, good meeting. Appreciate everyone's faces, all the help you've been providing, all that good stuff. I'm gonna close things out here.